Hey,
All
how
right. Hey, how's it going?
good. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, big news coming up. You announced your first ever tour. You're kicking it off in New York at Daryl's house, legendary
Yes.
venue. So what made you want to go out on tour now? Why was this the perfect time?
Honestly, I've always wanted to go and tour the US. That's a dream of mine, and it's always been the goal. But now we found the right team to make it happen with the booker, and we have great PR also, and we have two albums out, and it's just the right moment to do it. It's the right moment to get out there and show what we love, what we can do, our passion for this style of music, and I'm sure people are gonna love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of get the feeling already. I kind of know the answer, but what's the emotions like leading up to it? You're about a month away.
Well, I'm super excited. I can't wait, but I'm also very stressed, and that's just normal because I care and I want to do everything right, and it's the first time doing something like this for me, a big tour like that with many shows a week for 2 months. So it's very exciting and a little bit stressful for sure.
Right, absolutely. So what kind of went into that whole planning process for a tour? Because you have two albums already, and then you're like, all right, let's go on the road. So what was that like trying to, gather everything in one basket and go for it?
Well, honestly, I'm not the one who's booking the shows, and I have a manager who's doing a fantastic job also uh, making everything happen. Because there's a lot to consider. I'm Canadian, so we have to get the paperwork with the visas and stuff like that, and you have to have a booker who's able to book many shows in many states and financially also. So there's many things involved, uh, but it made sense now, so we jumped at the opportunity and making it happen.
Right, right. So, we mentioned the first stop of the tour is at Daryl's house,
Yeah,
obviously owned by Daryl Hall, legendary Hall and Oates tandem. But then you also have
yeah.
other legendary places like the Iridium going down into New York. So, what's that like knowing you're playing at some pretty big, heavy hitting venues?
Well, just knowing that I'm going to play at Daryl Hall's club, I mean he's a legend. There's so many great songs that I listen to this day. uh, you know. So sorry about
No, it's okay.
that. I kind of choked. I don't
No.
know why. But yeah, I mean that's fantastic. I can't wait. It's a dream come true.
And then, right after that, the Iridium, I mean, it
Yeah.
housed Les Paul for weeks on end in
Yes.
2009. I mean, Charlie Watts, Jeff Beck, Buddy Guy, you name it, and they've probably played there. Everyone from Buddy Guy to Zach Wild. So what's that like knowing, as a guitarist yourself, you're playing on a stage where everyone who's anyone has stepped before?
It's kind of surreal. It's just kind of surreal. And sometimes there's these moments in the music industry. There's these big highs and these big lows, and I've had these moments of, it just feels kind of surreal. I've opened for Foreigner also and Loverboy, and that was another dream come true. So it's kind of a dream. It's great. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Right. So what did Foreigner and Loverboy teach you, about life on the road, about being on tour? Because they are, tour animals. They're still out there touring. Foreigner has a whole bunch of new dates. So what did you learn from
Yeah.
them while with them?
I learned how opening bands, you know, have to, well, you have to earn your place and you have to, do your thing. It's very quick and it's very complicated. And we had to do our own sound. We had to bring our own console. I was doing the sound. We had 30 minutes to set up the mics, to set up the drums, the guitar, do the sound check. So, but you learn to deal with that kind of stuff, and if you want to do it and you're persistent and you're confident, I've learned that you can do it, you can make it work. You know, we had the opportunity, we took it,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
I like to take my opportunities, and I like to push as far as I can in the industry. Um, and it's my passion, and I always go back to it.
Right.
Whenever I'm down, that's I go back to it anyways, even if it brings me down. I that's all I do.
So was there a specific a band member in Foreigner or Loverboy that really took you under their wing, or was it more like you went out, you did your thing, you watched them how they performed and how they set up after, and you kind of took notes and added that to your tool belt?
Uh, well, I didn't really. We weren't really together. Like we were doing our own thing. They're doing our own thing, their own thing. I met the guitar player a little bit. You know, he came to me and talked about my rig and stuff, but we weren't really together.
Got it. So it's more like just watching and seeing what, named bands have done before and kind of hoping you take something a little way from it.
Yeah, exactly. And watching their awesome show also. You know, that's which is fantastic. It was an amazing show.
Right. So, you have a huge social media following, which is very different than a lot of other, rock and roll musicians have. So, how has social media helped you grow as a musician and help get your name out there?
Well, that's what started it all for me. You know, I started with YouTube. I started posting videos when I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old, my first videos. And I just wanted to get my passion out there. Um, and eventually, F Facebook came and then Instagram and all that stuff. Actually, Instagram, I literally just started really posting regularly on Instagram a few months ago. And it kind of blew up and it's still, growing. Um, but the thing is, these days you have to do it. You have to do it. You can't not do it. Okay, that's the thing. So I do it. I'm not a huge fan of social media because it's that's how the industry works today. I mean, there are definitely some positives. It's great that I can put myself out there and gain a lot of fans, and I love the fans, and I love that people uh, like to listen to the music and watch what I do and answer questions and stuff like that, which is fantastic. But there are sides of it about the industry that I'm not a fan of.
Right. And then, because a lot of other musicians really don't utilize it. So, and you're out there utilizing, you have your own setup, each kind of call them episodes, I guess, have a new solo, have a new cover of a song. So, what
Yeah.
was that process like? Did you decide that once you used it, I'm going to keep going with it, or were you just you posted the first video and you saw what happened?
The reality is that I love doing it. I enjoy it. I enjoy recording, and that's what I do. You know, I set up my amp, take my guitar, start playing. I record, and then I mix it, and I listen to it, and I try to get it, for example, as close as Van Halen as possible, or as close as Randy Rhoads as possible, um, or I do my own solos and or my own songs. And people love it. So it's a great feeling to create something, create content, put it out there, and get people say things about it and like it and share it, and it honestly it gets a little addictive. You know,
Um,
you see like thousands of likes and then shares and stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna post something next.
Right, right. And I love that you said
It's
Van
just,
Halen and Randy
of
Rhoads. I see the,
course.
the polka dots behind you, and I see 1984
Oh
behind
yeah,
you. So
exactly. Yeah. That's the
excellent
actual.
pick.
That's the pedal, the limited edition pedal that
Oh
came
wow,
out. And this is an actual poster from 1984, the original poster from the tour.
that's awesome. I
Yeah,
would think Van Halen 2 would probably be my favorite out of all of them, but
I
I
love it. I love it.
it's probably my favorite if I had to pick just one. If you have a, I don't know if you have a favorite one, or some fans are, what, every album is good.
Yeah, my favorite one is the first one. Has to be the first
Hard
one for
one to
me.
beat, right?
Yeah, first one, and then uh, probably Van Halen too.
God, I mean, they're just almost perfect albums straight through.
Yeah, my favorite like three albums are one, two, and 1984.
Okay, hard to beat. And I
Yeah.
think that album cover though is perfect. 1984, like
Yeah,
the
this is
best
this
album
this is
cover.
the best album cover for sure.
That one, and
Yeah.
then Sabbath's their first album with Ronnie James Dio with the angel
Yeah.
smoking the
Oh
cigarettes, I think
yeah.
is
Yeah, that's awesome.
another awesome one. So before you mentioned that you just love to go out and record music. So what was that process like to record two studio albums, brand new material, all yours?
That was crazy. That was really, really crazy because, on those two albums, there's only two people. That's me and Josh Gallagher, my drummer. Um, and we do everything. Like we mix we record, we mix, we create the songs, we do everything. So, uh, especially the first album was very, very hard to do, because we were starting with basically very, very little knowledge except for the covers that we produced and that we put online. So we had mixed, a few covers, um, and mostly my drummer was doing most of he was doing the mixing on the first album. Um, so it was a lot of trial and error and re-recording because certain parts are like, oh no, that vocal doesn't sound good. So I'm kind of trying to learn to sing properly at the same time as doing it, and recording, and you have to learn how studio mixing, mixing music engineering works,
Right.
because there's a lot of things involved, with EQs and compressors, and there's so many other things. But um, when you start from nothing, it's hard to. It takes a long time to learn that stuff.
Right.
And the second album was a lot more fun to do. Second album, we had the knowledge from the first one, and the songs just came out naturally. We created songs together, and I love the songs on it. And when it came to record, we knew exactly what we wanted. So we recorded the sounds, sounded great, and I did all of the mixing on the second one. So that was my first time mixing an album, a full album. Um, and yeah, recorded the vocals, so many harmonies. I love vocal harmonies. My drummer loves vocal harmonies also. So layers and layers of vocal harmonies, just like in the 70s and 80s. No
Oh yeah.
auto tune, and no triggers on the drums, no samples, just real live drums recorded in the room. Everything is mixed, you know, authentically, naturally. No samples, no auto tune. So that's why it sounds like an album that came out in the late 70s and 80s. It doesn't sound like an album from today because we're not looking for that big, brick walled, compressed sound. We want it to sound like a band in the room.
Absolutely. So what was that process like when you decided you're going to record your own music? What was your inspiration for certain songs, or, we want to stack the album with this song first and that song second? How did that all work out?
Um, well, when it comes to creating the music, whenever I pick up a guitar, I start jamming, and there's riffs that come out, riffs that just don't exist, that just come out. I start jamming, and I get creative, and sometimes there's a full song that come out. Sometimes it can be a full song. Sometimes you have to work around it a little bit. Even same lyrically. Sometimes you start writing, and there's a whole song right there, and then you put the music around it. Um, so there that's a songwriting process. It just comes out naturally, and then after that, you start recording, and you start doing the producing also, and the arrangements and stuff, and sometimes even once everything is recorded, you still do arrangements. We're going to cut that part, and back in the 70s they used to cut the tape, but now,
Right.
I do it in my computer. You can cut a section.
Right.
Okay, that flows much better now. So that's how music producing works, and when it comes to the song order, I like a strong opening or an intro or something that when you put
Absolutely.
the album on, it's okay. That's cooking. And then after that, you just go with the flow. It's and also we we release on vinyl, so we have to consider
Right.
side one, side two. which is something that it's funny because before releasing an album, I had never heard of vinyl in my entire life.
Oh wow.
And when I got my album on vinyl, I went to my parents, and my dad had just gotten a turntable, and then I got addicted, and I started buying vinyls. I got so many vinyls. I'm starting to put all my money into that,
That's great.
because there's nothing like listening to a great vinyl on a great pair of speakers. It's another
Absolutely.
experience. That real analog feel and movement and physical. It's different, completely different.
I
Um,
absolutely agree.
but yeah, that's the process. You know, you have to consider vinyl, and it just you have to. It has to flow. It has to make sense. You know, when you listen to the album, and I mean, you think of Van Halen one. You know, I know the order perfectly, and there's a
Right.
reason for it. I mean, it's a perfect order.
Right. So then what would you say is your favorite album that you have in your vinyl collection? Because it's different, as you said, from, going Apple Music, playing a song. So if you
Yeah.
have one that you always reach for and put it on the turntable, what is your favorite album in your collection?
That's a tough question. That's a really tough question. I have so many, and some limited edition ones also.
Nice.
I the last one I bought was Megadeth Rust in Peace,
Okay, that's
and,
great.
and I listened to it, and it's not remastered. It's the original version because they don't do remaster on vinyl, I think. And 180 grams, and I put this on. I started playing it, and oh my God, the sound was incredible. That album sounds insane. But favorite one is hard to say. It's very hard to say.
Right. So then, is it the same answer for if the house was on fire, you had to grab at least two albums to take with you, and that's it? Would you be able to pick two? Would you try to take the entire shelf with you, or what would that situation be like?
Well, I could probably pick a bunch like that with my
Right.
arms, and but it's hard because when it comes to vinyl, there's the taste of music, and then there's also some of them are more valuable. So
Right.
it's hard to say.
Okay. I
But
would.
anything Van Halen, I'd take all the Van Halen albums.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That's
Someone asked me that once. I couldn't tell them, and I had to come down to my original Zeppelin 3 copy, my original T-Rex Electric Warrior, and maybe an original Sabbath. And I'm like, but out of 400 albums, I can't really pick one. So I get the feeling of like not being able to
yeah.
figure out which one.
I'm not exactly any close to 400s so far, though.
Not yet.
But it's coming. It's coming. Yeah,
Right.
I'm probably just above 50 now. I mean, I just literally started buying them.
Got it. So then what was,
But
you were talking about having physical media. You take the Rust in Peace album and you're like, wow, this is
mm,
what they did. And now you on your shelf you're looking Van Halen, Megadeth, and then it's your albums. What does that
yeah.
do for your confidence knowing I'm doing exactly what my heroes did? I'm following in their footsteps.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty crazy to have your name. It's my band, my name on vinyl. And I can see it in the center of the vinyl. It's like, holy shit! I have actual albums on vinyl that are released worldwide. In Japan, in Europe, in the U.S., everywhere. So that's fantastic. That's really it's a great achievement. It's a dream come true, and it's it's amazing that it's physically out there forever.
Right. So then speaking of your albums, I see one of the album covers on your t-shirt. What goes
Yeah,
What goes into the art and what you want that album cover to look like? Because I love a good album cover because it will grab me from the start. If it looks cool, it looks weird or funky, then I'm bound to listen to it straight through. So what went through
of
that
course.
process?
That was really I'm so proud of that. I love that album cover. My ex-girlfriend drew the entire thing.
Oh wow.
Hand drew the entire thing. So it's all yeah, it's she did the entire thing with, just she had like a tablet, a Apple pen, and just draw every little line, every
Oh
little
wow.
details. And my idea behind that was to represent the lyrics to Viva Rock N Roll, which is a
Mhm.
song about freedom. It's really all about freedom and doing what you love, and not caring about what others think. And it's the same with Black Sheep Boogie, also the last song of the album. So that's why the black sheep on top. I wanted it to be about a little bit about rebellion and freedom, and that's how the cover came to be. I have it right here. And the little there's the white sheets behind with the signs, and those are things that haters say all the time, and comments that I get on social media, stuff like write your own songs. I have two albums out and I still get people saying write your own songs because I post covers,
Right.
and I'm not going to stop posting covers, and some political stuff also on there, but I didn't want to get too deep into that. But and get a real job, pay your dues, all that kind of stuff.
Right, of course, of course. So do you think that, people are hating? That means you got to be doing something right. You got two albums under your
Absolutely,
belt.
absolutely. Because you can't win. You can never have everyone on your side. That's not going to happen. But if you have people that really love what you do, uh, as the majority of your fans, and a bunch of people that keep hating, but they always come back. I mean that's got to be a win.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, backtracking a little bit, for some fans
Yep.
that aren't 100% familiar with your background, how did you get started as a guitar player? Was there like one single moment where you heard an album and you're like, I want to do that? Or did you get gifted a guitar? What was your story like?
So I grew up in a musical environment. I was always surrounded in music. My mom went to university in jazz and classical piano, and so she plays saxophone and piano and bass. And my dad, he's always played guitar in bands, and um, I had musical instruments at home. I never really played though. My parents bought me a drum kit when I was 4 years old, and I could play. I was actually pretty good. I remember playing songs from, Stone Temple Pilots and stuff like
Nice.
that. Um, but I never really kept at it. I just wasn't interested. I was 4 years old. I didn't really care at the time, but I really enjoyed listening to music, and I had, the groove and the feel, the sense of rhythm, and what is required when you play music. So it wasn't until later when I was allotted to video games in my childhood, and so I literally just I was playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band for years, and I at some point we're in a music store and I see a guitar, and it's the same guitar that's in the music store. I mean in the Guitar Hero video game.
Hmm.
So I asked my dad, or well, my parents, they were with me in the music store. I asked them, can you buy me the guitar? I'm gonna start playing, and they're like, if you start playing, we can buy it, later. So I actually we went back home, picked up my dad's guitar, learned all my chords, and I was just hooked. I
Wow.
was just hooked, and I started playing. From that day, I started playing, Sweet Child of Mine and stuff like that. Not the solo, obviously, but the intro and stuff like that, and Metallica stuff. And turned out I never had the guitar that I wanted. That first guitar, it was kind of a King V
Okay.
shape, red. I think it was in Rock Band. There was a guitar like that, and I
Okay.
wanted that, but doesn't matter. Now I have all the guitars that I want.
Exactly. I mean, speaking of those guitars, you look at your YouTube videos, you're always playing a Strat, Flying V, a Les Paul. So what's the touring rig setup like? Because you can't take all of them with you. You can take a lot with you, but
No.
not all.
On the road, I want to take mostly all of my EVH Jackson and Charvel stuff, because now I'm working with them. I'm sponsored by them. They send
Nice.
they send me stuff, and they're my favorite guitars. They're the best guitars in the world. Whenever I go a music store or someone who has one of these guitars, they're always perfect. They're fantastic guitars. I love the sound of them. I love how they play. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with those guitars. So that's what I'm going to take on the road. My Charvel, and a couple EVH. Probably like three guitars. I don't want to, we have to travel kind of light.
Right.
It's it's a lot of stuff already. I'm bringing, 412 cab, with a head, and
Wow.
so yeah, yeah. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to bring yet, all of it, but we don't know every venue, also the sizes of the venue and stuff like
Right.
that. So, but it's a rock band. It's loud. It's going to be loud. We're always playing loud. I crank my Marshalls up. That's how it's supposed to sound.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So, what's
Yeah.
that? You went from recording covers and you have, one other guy with you, your drummer. What's that like, deciding that you are going to go on the road? You're coming with me, you're staying behind. What's that conversation like?
Well, actually, it's for that tour. I have other musicians because my drummer couldn't make it. He's Australian, and
Okay.
obviously, it's very, very complicated and expensive.
Right.
So for that particular tour, he couldn't make it. I have other guys, great guys, great drummer and great bassist also. Both guys who can sing. And it's always hard to find new guys, but I'm happy. They're my age basically. Drummer's a little bit younger, so I mean that's going to be very fun. I talked to them about the tour, and they were excited. They're like the bass player, for example. He had other gigs and stuff, and he couldn't do it. And he called me the next day, and he was like asking me for information. I'm like, I'm telling myself, well, he's interested because he's
Right.
calling me back. So I knew he'd be in. We started talking. He started canceling his other gigs, and he wanted to join us. I mean, that's honestly, it's a dream come true for any musician to go and tour the U.S. That's a great opportunity that I was offering. So that's it's crazy that it's happening.
Right. So where did you find your new band? Did you kind of scour social media? Were you rehearsing them? Were you trying them out? What was that like?
Well, it's funny because the drummer is actually a big fan of the band, and he knew all the songs,
Okay.
and he was actually playing the songs on drums already.
Oh wow.
And he was playing bass also. He's a great musician. He basically he did a bunch of covers of songs from my first and to a second album, and that was long before I'd ever reach out for about playing. So
Mhm.
I knew that he knew the songs. We talked a little bit. He was supposed to play bass actually, and have Josh, my drummer, join us for the tour, but it didn't work out. So turned out he I put him on the drums and found another bass player, but uh, that's you never know how it's going to go. It's very hard to find musicians. But this guy was on my radar because he came to the shows and he was around basically. But I knew a couple of guys also. The bass player, he's one of my friends. Uh, well, a girlfriend, but not my girlfriend, but like just a friend.
Right.
He's his boyfriend. Sorry, it's just it gets confusing.
That's okay. Friday morning. That's all right.
Jesus, Jesus, I'm confused now.
Well, February 4th, Daryl's house, first show of the tour. We really thank you for joining us. This was fantastic. We were very happy to have this opportunity. Was there anything that we didn't ask or anything that I didn't touch base on that you want to add to the record?
Well, if anyone wants to check out what we do, you can check out on derapsofficial.com/tour for all the tour dates, and also there's merch on the website. So derapsofficial.com and all my social media, derapsofficial on on Instagram, uh, Facebook, YouTube also, which I have over 50,000 followers. If you like
It's awesome.
rock music. I'm always posting stuff, gear stuff, also guitars, amps. So yeah, check this out and check out the albums. Also, I think if you're a fan of 70s and 80s rock, you're gonna love it. And come hang out at Daryl's because it's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be awesome. We always have a blast on tour and at the shows. It's a big party. It's rock and roll, just like in the 70s and 80s. So anyone should come out and hang out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.